It is finally time for F1 26, my team career. I've been waiting a very long time to do this. We're going to skip all that though. We're going to head straight into the team customization. Customize the owner, get the name in, nothing of note there. Well, maybe actually, but man, I've been wanting to do this for so long, and it's finally here. Team background. I wanted to kind of just go with like the hardest settings possible for that one, just to make it as sort of interesting. This took me so long. I went through all of this multiple times because I wanted to get the right driver pairing, and I finally got the right pairing. I've modded myself into the game over Jarno Opmeer, but alongside me is going to be Leonardo Fornaroli. We've also got Red Bull powertrains, which the lore behind that is going to be that WKTR is going to be kind of a new team on the grid that doesn't have a lot of money, and so we've loaned out the power units from Red Bull because they were the only team that were willing to give it to us. A bit like Brawn in 2009 with Mercedes, but it's with Red Bull Ford instead. And speaking of Brawn, the livery is very Brawn inspired, because, well, I'm a big Jensen Button fan growing up, and you know that car is just so iconic to me. So the livery is very much based on the old Brawn GP. As for the suit, I really liked the look of that. I don't know how to say it, Monet Paris. I don't know, but the suit looked really nice, and I got a really nice color scheme going for it. I really liked the way that looks, and then the gloves. I quite like these sort of they're jagged, they're called, and that's, I guess, an apt name. I think they look really smart for the team. Although did I even end up? No, I didn't even end up going with them. You can tell I've recorded this a while ago. I do actually quite like the look of these ones. Now I actually look back, yeah, these were really cool, and I'm glad I picked those. Not that it really matters. Yeah, we are a brand new team in Formula One. We're obviously going to be alongside Cadillac as a new team, and I guess you could count Audi as well. 3 new teams on the grid as the emblem. They didn't have the emblem I like. The one that I used to use that was kind of like a W shape, but either way, I believe there is somebody who wants to talk to us.
So, we're gonna need to open talks with drivers for next season. They could be ours, or are currently driving for other teams. You should head to the driver comms page.
So we have been asked to look for some alternative drivers, or maybe to just re-spark talks with Fornaroli, who we got on our team. But I was looking at multiple drivers. I was looking at maybe a young, exciting driver like an Antonelli, a Hadjar, a Behrman maybe, but I kind of decided early on that if I was gonna go with anyone other than Fornaroli for next season, it would have to be an Unk. And so I looked at Bottas, I looked at Perez, I looked at Nico Hulkenberg, because he's actually my favourite driver in real F1. So I was very much settled on having an Unk in my team if I were to sign anyone. And while I like the look of maybe people like Gasly and Ocon, and also Nico Hulkenberg, of course, as he is, again, my favourite driver, Sergio Perez was the driver I ended up going with, because I feel like I don't know, I just feel like the lore of that, if he actually ended up at our team, would be very, very interesting. But we'll see what happens. Fornaroli might be excellent, he might not be. We'll see. Moving on then to the car, the livery design. This was pretty tedious. I'm not a huge fan of making liveries. In the future, I would love to just use a livery that's on Race Department for career mode. Maybe just modify it slightly to be like my team, but my team. But the livery editor in F125 is pretty good, but I'd rather use someone else for my designs. Either way, it is now time to move towards FP1.
The long wait is over. This is it, a brand new season. And before the show gets well and truly underway, we've got the all-important matter of a free practice session. It's great to be back.
Hey mate, this is Mark. This is going to be a good year. We're going to have a great time together, and obviously the team are brand new, so I've set everything up from scratch. Let's make the big boss happy and show that we're not just here on the grid to make up the numbers, alright?
Well, it is that new car smell, and it really is that new car smell, because we are a brand new team on the Formula 1 grid, along with Cadillac, and technically Audi as well. Man, it is going to be a very exciting series as we look at the practice programs and the car setup. I'm really not sure how to set up the cars on this year's game. Well, this year's DLC, as this is obviously a DLC for F125. I know sort of 56, 57 is the ideal brake bias, and you don't want to have too much brake pressure because the brakes are quite volatile. First program we're going to do is tire management, and I guess this is just an opportunity for me to talk about how these cars feel in this DLC. First of all, they feel a lot more alive in the corners, and they also feel a lot more sort of, I don't know how to describe it. They just feel a lot more like Formula 1 cars compared to the sort of boats that we've had for the last few years with the ground effect cars, which I did not enjoy driving in games, or and even in real life. They didn't look like they were any fun to drive. The lifting and coasting is certainly something to get used to. In the race, it's not so bad. In qualifying, it can get a bit tedious, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, straight mode as well. There's no DRS anymore. It's just a straight mode that you can use whenever you like. You got boost mode, which is basically ERS, but way more powerful, and it drains way quicker. It charges way quicker, as you almost crash into an Aston Martin there. And then overtake mode, when you're within a second of the car ahead, you get more power, you get more recharge. The cars are smaller as well. They're lighter, they're more nimble, they slide around a lot more. And one thing I will say is, you're going to notice I do have the OSD all the way off the screen. Now, this is because I was playing this on an ultra-wide. I'm not actually using that monitor to record racing anymore, so you don't have to worry about that in the future. But just for this practice session, all the OSD is going to be off the screen. However, when we get to qualifying, when we get to the race, it's going to be absolutely fine, as we get a green rating on that first practice session, or practice program, I should say. As we come towards the end of our second lap, we are going to ace it, and we're going to go purple for maximum resource points. And then we're going to get a bit too eager on the boost and hit the wall, and that is our first practice session done and in the bin. Just went through turn one on the curb a little bit, and yeah, just way too eager on the boost button, and found ourselves in the wall.
And that's it. Practice is officially over. Until next time, goodbye.
Moving on to FP2 then, as I was trying to do the fuel saving program, but I could get the fuel right perfectly, but I just could not get those last few corners right, and ended up losing so much time that we didn't even pass the test. And so, no valid lap time. You can see the frustration. I was pretty much done with that, but then race strategy. This program is super easy. You just got to drive 3 laps at a reasonable speed, and we could definitely do that, especially on soft tyres. And that was pretty formulaic, as it is now time to head into qualifying.
Hello everyone, it is time for qualifying at one of our very favourite stops on the calendar. It's Albert Park, and we're about to take the cars right up to the edge.
We are here now for the first qualifying of this career, and it's going to be a very interesting experience qualifying with these new cars. Of course, having to lift and coast, charge the battery, where to use the battery, where to not use it, where we're going to have to sort of, and not only that, still managing to push hard and drive the car fast while thinking about all of that. It's going to be very interesting as we go out onto the track here. It's going to be, I think it could be something very interesting throughout this sort of game cycle and reg cycle, really, with the games, although obviously I know that changes are coming within the next few years, and even in the game it probably might happen because of the changes we got in Miami in real life. Which led to much less in terms of sort of battery saving and stuff as we... Well, this was a very weird incident that happened. I overtake the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, go a bit deep into the corner there, and then I go wide, and then I get hit by Gasly. I don't know what went on there. I don't know whether that was my fault, whether it was his fault. But either way, when we actually did get onto a qualifying lap, I did this. Went off the track, into the grass, and yeah, not the best. I don't know why I decided to finish the lap. There was literally no purpose of me finishing this lap, but I did, just to get a lap on the board. I guess maybe for the delta, just to compare. For this lap here, where obviously we're going to gain a load of time, I believe 3.6 seconds, which is going to put us 12th place. I was not expecting to get out of Q1, I must say. But we have gotten into Q2. And look at this. Max Verstappen, 13th. So clearly there was some shenanigans going on. Both Cadillacs into Q2. And Leo Fornaroli, 18th. So we're not looking too bad as we head into Q2 now. This could be... I mean, look at that. We're purple in the middle sector. I think that is mainly a battery thing. I'm using it more through there. Although we get a slide on in the final corner. I was just too far to the left and I got on the power a bit early, and that's our lap ruined, simply put. Which was a great shame because I felt like we maybe had the pace to out-qualify the Cadillacs, but we haven't done that. It's yeah, look at this. 35-2 in the final sector. Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas, excuse me, did a much quicker time. So yeah, we lost well over a second.
The wait is over. Hello everyone and welcome to the 2026 Formula One season. We have new teams, new drivers and a sea change in the regulations. The biggest that Formula One has ever seen. It's unpredictable and it starts right now. We first raced here in Albert Park back in 1996. It's 3.2 miles, 14 turns now instead of the original 16, part of a larger redevelopment to encourage overtaking. The drivers enjoyed it in 2022. It retains the landmarks, the bumps, the challenge, but there's more opportunity to attack with those 5 corners to the left and the 9 to the right. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Piastri, George Russell and Antonelli, Verstappen, Albon, Sainz and Isaac Hadjar, Behrman, Perez, Nico Hülkenberg and Alonso, Ocon, Bottas, Calimaya and Leonardo Fornaroli, Gasly, Bortoletto, Colapinto, Lawson, Lindblad, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? It's race day, it's gonna be a thriller. I'm Alex Jakes, alongside me is Naomi Schiff.
First of all, this is such an exciting time. But for them today, I guess you would be really nervous. It's the first time you're going to be doing this. There is so much to learn. But at the end of the day, they've got to remember that expectations aren't that high. They've all been there before. They've all had their first race, and no one is expecting them to land on the top of the podium. So just learn to walk before you can run.
So here we are then, we are on the grid.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't
Ready for our first Grand Prix. It's always an exciting moment for any driver, for us, for Fornaroli, for Lindblad on this grid, making our debut. I was looking at the 2-stop. I was thinking that was probably the best strategy because I'm not great at saving tyres with these cars yet. They're quite slidey. So I was just thinking, you know, push the whole race. Don't worry about the tyres. Do a nice 2-stop. And we'll get to the end just fine. And then for fuel, because we're doing so much lifting and coasting, I thought maybe, you know, under fuel by like a lap or so. And we'll be fine because we'll be doing so much lifting and coasting anyway. So the getting ready for the formation lap. Interestingly, both me and Fornaroli both on medium compound tires, whereas the rest of the grid are on hards, which should, in theory, give us a better start, but you never know. I've never been the best starter in F1 games, but you never know. With the medium tires, for us and for Fornaroli, it could be something. Man, it's always a giddy feeling you get when you start your first career mode on a new F1 game, and to be doing it on YouTube as well. Nailed the parking. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go, and F1 26 career is underway. It's a good start for Fornaroli, but he got boxed in there by Valtteri Bottas. As we head towards turn 1, can we go around the outside of the Cadillac? Yes, we can. We slot in behind the Haas of Esteban Ocon. As we head down towards turn 3, are we going to go for the classic Melbourne turn 3 send? No, with the new opened up corner since 2022, you can't really do that anymore. As Hülkenberg and Ocon getting a bit feisty there, with the German getting squeezed out as we maybe get a run on the Audi driver. No, we can't quite do it. We're just gonna look at this though. Look at the energy, the battery power we're using, and we just breeze past the Audi, and we're gonna get all the way up to the back of Ocon. I noticed one thing is that the AI don't really use their battery that much along Lakeside Drive, which is very useful to know. As we're going to not go for that move on Ocon, although we're going to look to the outside. No, can't get the switchback either. It's a dramatic opening lap as we see Lando Norris leading from pole position from Lewis Hamilton as they head towards turn 1. Apologies for the footage being a bit laggy. That will be fixed for next time. as Lando leads the field. And it's going to be Oscar Piastri here, making a move on Lewis Hamilton to take second place and make it a McLaren 1-2. Back to us then, and man, it has been a frantic opening lap for us. Well, I've had franticer opening laps, that's not a word. As we head onto the main straight now, we're going to get a run maybe on Esteban Ocon, and you may think, well, we're a bit far away, but you never know with these new cars, as Oscar Piastri now, on lap 2, heads to the inside of Lando Norris and takes the lead to the roar of the Aussie fans. And now we are going to be, well, just look at this. Behind Fernando Alonso, who's clearly not deploying anything, and look at the speed we gain. We all have to slow down in the middle sector. We actually said a purple middle sector because, again, we've been using way more battery than anyone else. This track is one of the more egregious sort of battery-saving tracks. There are other tracks that are, you know, absolutely fine. You don't have to lift and coast much at all, but this track is not one of those. As we get, look at that, the power that we have over these guys on Lakeside Drive is just ridiculous. We're going to get Alonso, we're going to get Perez, I'm going to catch right up to Esteban Ocon. Look at the speed we carry. And it was at this point that I was beginning to realize, look at that, 1.0 I should say. We have made a mistake as Sergio Perez comes right back up the inside of us. We have made a mistake on fuel. I did not realize the game factors in the lifting and coasting, and so I did not realize that, and I underfueled thinking we're going to lift and coast a lot, but the game actually factors that in as we're going to maybe have a run on Sergio Perez. Not quite. I've done goofed with the strategy here. I thought that I would be fine, but no, we're going to have to be doing a lot of fuel saving, and I just thought, well, I'm just going to push. I'm going to push as hard as I can. I'm going to get, you know, potentially away from these guys, get them out of overtake mode, and then just start saving fuel. I'm going to drop back, but at least then I'll have a bit of a buffer, and look at that, we catch right up nearly to the back of the Haas duo of Behrman and Ocon, who are fighting for 11th and 12th. Look at that, we're saving fuel. I'm not even lifting and coasting to charge the battery. I'm just doing it to save fuel because I'm struggling a lot as we now have a run here. Ocon goes to the inside, takes 11th place from Oliver Behrman, and we are going to go round the outside of the Brit and towards the inside of the Frenchman, maybe. Yes, we are. And that is 11th place. 3 seconds off of points. Obviously, you know, we're pushing unreasonably hard because you know, I need to save fuel, whereas these other guys don't have that issue, and so they can just slot in and run their races. Look at the tyre wear as well, 25% already after 6 laps. To be fair, I have been pushing quite hard. As we head out of the final corner now, I'm running none energy mode for a lot of this race because I thought that would help me save fuel. I'm not sure whether that is right. We'll see in future videos as we're going to have a run. And I'm happy just to sit behind Ocon here because we can get overtake mode. We can just, you know, run our race. Although, as you see, he quickly gapped us and we get overtaken by Pierre Gasly as well. So, yeah, not an ideal turn of events for us. As we're going to try and maybe send it back up the inside of Gasly, but no, it's not going to be enough. We're going to be stuck behind the 2 Frenchmen, and we're just going to keep falling down and down and down. As now Valtteri Bottas speeds past us. I'm running medium to none again, because at the time I thought it would help me save fuel. I don't know whether it does or not. And now our teammate Leo Fornaroli is behind us. Not going to let him through so easily. Although as we come now to the lakeside drive portion of this lap. We're going to have a run on Valtteri Bottas, so we're going to send it up the inside. Yes, we are. And that is going to be us back into 12th. Although, whoa, he's going to come right back at us. That's like the third time that's jump scared me during this editing process. I keep forgetting he did that. That was audacious from Bottas. I mean, I say that, I did just kind of not know he was there and squeezed in, but also the pace difference on that straight was insane, as we don't even get overtake mode because I've lost so much time fuel saving. And I'm running in none mode here, and just look at that. Fornaroli, Lindblad, just both go past me, as we're now going to have a run maybe on this duo of rookies. 3 rookies almost side by side, but we're going to go into the back of Fornaroli and spin round. And that's going to lose us a lot of time. And look at that 4-car battle behind. We're going to be behind all of those guys. And Carlos Sainz goes past us as well, and we're down to 19th. Let's look on board with Fornaroli. Yeah, I just hit him. That's completely my fault. Although now we are on the back of Esteban Ocon again. Although remember, he has pit now. So he's a full pit stop ahead of us, which is rather embarrassing as we head to the outside of the Frenchman. Can't get the move done. We don't have enough power. We have to save fuel. Look at that save fuel. Or fuel save, I should say. We are now in the 60s for fuel. So we are slowly saving fuel, just lifting and coasting as we get a bit iffy on the curb there. Again, Pierre Gasly in front of us. These guys have all pit, so it's kind of embarrassing that we've lost that much time in that little amount of laps as we go into the pits. And Esteban Ocon has crashed at the final corner as we come into the pits for our first pit stop of this series. Look at that, Esteban Ocon sliding through the final corner. Unfortunately, the damage model, it's not great in F125 for some reason. He hits the wall. That should be a DNF, and then the contact with Bortoleto should be as well. But either way, just slides it into the wall and gets hit by Bortoleto, who does have front wing damage as well. And look at that, the Haas spinning through the final corner as we go into the pits, get the optimal turn in. Bit late on the exit, but that's not a bad debut pit stop for us. Not the first pit stop as a team, as Fornaroli pit the lap before, but we're going to come back onto the track with a new lease of life on these hard tyres. Also worth noting, that fuel save, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it's also worth noting that I've abandoned the 2-stop because I felt like I'm saving fuel. I'm just going to be losing time regardless. As Pierre Gasly is out of the race, it's better for me to just run my laps, run my race. The other guys in front are going to pit again as Pierre Gasly is out of the race there. I was actually slowing down to save fuel, but it kind of looks like I was slowing for the yellow flags, which isn't actually a mechanic in this game, unfortunately. Yeah, and the Alpine of Pierre Gasly just grinds to a halt. Unfortunate end to his Australian Grand Prix. He is the first retirement of this season. And now here is Franco Colapinto. He's going to go up or inside. I had no idea. And I just turned into him. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was just my fault. It's audacious from Colapinto, but I should have known he was there, really. As we head on to the next lap now, I'm going to try and overtake Colapinto back. And let me explain myself here. I'm trying to save fuel. I just had a complete brain fart. I keep accidentally flicking between boost, medium, and none, and I just end up cutting the corner and getting a penalty. So yeah, our race is pretty much done at that point. Let's focus on the top guys. Isaac Hadjar is currently running in 8th place. Pretty lonely race for him. Norris just had a bad strategy and compared to his teammate. I don't know why he's lost so much pace. Kimi Antonelli has been charging through the field, actually. He got past Norris. The Ferraris 2 stopped, so they're going to have a lot of pace, but not as much pace as these guys. The top 3, George Russell, Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen. As we head on to lap 26, George Russell is going to get past Piastri, and he's going to have a lot of speed here. Is he going to get past Max? Not quite. But this battle, I will say, was absolutely thrilling from start to finish. We're just going to see the tail end of it, because if I showed the whole thing, it would be the whole video as George goes around the outside of Verstappen the very next lap. Max, down the inside of Lakeside Drive, takes the place back from George Russell. Oscar Piastri getting kind of left in the dust as George goes for the lead into turn 1, and Max cuts him off. Takes the lead back from the Englishman. Oscar Piastri can just watch on as these two do battle for victory. As we head now later in the lap, George Russell has a magnificent run on Max Verstappen. He's going to go to the inside and take the lead from the Dutchman on the penultimate lap. As he did in real life, George Russell leads in these late stages. Will he win the race as Oscar Piastri now? Max must have spent all of his battery defending against Russell, because Piastri slides into second place. We head on to the final lap. George never looked back. None of the guys behind could challenge him. And as he did in real life, George Russell is going to win the opening race. Touch wood for him, as he's got a few more corners to navigate. Around the final corner he comes now. Onto the main straight. George Russell, just like in real life, wins the opening race of 2026. Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen did all they could. What a battle that was. What a win for George Russell. What a way to start this career. I'm sure it will be very exciting seeing the championship battle develop between these guys. What a race. Incredible. Incredible stuff. And while all this was going on, I was trying to just finish in 17th place. You see, I've got a 3-second penalty, a 1.5 second gap, 1.6, 1.7 second gap to Oliver Bearman. But we go into the second corner, and we just get a little bit too eager on the boost mode, and we lose all of that gap, and Ollie Bearman goes right past us. Absolutely nothing we could have done there. Well, there was. We could have just not crashed. These cars are just, it's hard to get used to it. You have so much power when you're using boost mode that if you just press it a little bit early, you are going round. You are going in the wall. And I mean, it was a little bit of foreshadowing earlier as we had that crash in practice, although we do have now a run on Bearman, but we've just got no battery left. And if anything, we're going to have to look behind and make sure Fernando Alonso doesn't get past us, although we do have a little bit of luck, but that's not really an overtaking place. We have the battery, we're going to have the measure of Fernando Alonso, but yeah, disappointing opening race. We're just really at this point trying to stay ahead of Perez, who's 3.5 seconds behind us, 3.4, 3.2, as we head towards the final 2 corners. We're going to come out of the final corner. We will lose the place to Alonso with that penalty as we get on the boost mode way too early again. And that's our second incident on this lap, and Perez is going to go past us. And now we just got to stay ahead of Bortoletto, but we're out of fuel. So my fuel saving strategy didn't even work in the end. And it's going to be 21st.
Can't catch a break.
Absolutely disastrous final lap there. We went from probably finishing 18th to 21st, and look at this, just got way too eager on the throttle there, into the wall. Lucky the damage model is quite forgiving, and oh, Perez almost going into the back of us.
George Russell is the winner.
Well, they kept us guessing during pre-season testing. We all wondered who it was going to be, and to have them drawn out here today, that they are the ones to beat, just goes to show that all the work they put in has really counted.
It was a tough tussle on the racetrack. It is now time for the celebrations. And absorbing the acclaim of the crowd, George Russell on the top spot.
Well, just like in real life, George Russell taking victory in the opening round ahead of Piastri and Verstappen. Try as they might, they could not match the Mercedes driver. It's going to be very interesting throughout the season to see how that develops, whether or not Mercedes are as, dominant in the game as they are in real life, even though in real life they're not super dominant. I mean, they've won all but one race as of this recording, but they've been challenged. They are beatable, as that error gave me a heart attack when I did this originally. I thought I lost the replay, but no, it was just the highlight. An interesting race result then, because the Ferraris were kind of just in... It was interesting that although they did do a one-stop, actually. I was mistaken. Everyone in the top 8 did a one-stop. It was the two Williams actually picking up points with a two-stop. Interesting what they could have done had they done a one-stop. Fornaroli doing the heavy lifting for us in 16th place. Obviously, us with a very disappointing 21st place finish. The driver standings is just the race result, but the constructor standings is interesting. Mercedes lead the way ahead of McLaren and Ferrari. Red Bull in 4th. Williams picking up points as well. Cadillac are actually in 8th after their first race, as us, Alpine, Haas and Aston Martin had a disappointing outing. But that has been it from me. It has been a very entertaining first episode, but I will see you for part 2 in Japan.